Hi there, everyone, and welcome to your history lesson today. I hope you've been really enjoying looking at all of the different types of houses. So before we begin, I have a little recap for you. Now you have this on your worksheet. What I'd like you to do is match the name of the house to the picture. So just draw a line with your pencil from the name of the house to the picture. Okay? So pause the video here and complete that now for me. Okay, welcome back. Shall we see if we've got the same answers? Okay, are you ready? So the first one was a terraced house. Now remember, a terraced house is lots of houses all together. And this one, sorry, this one is our terraced house here. Lots of houses all together. The next one is our flat, and that's lots of houses in one building. Okay, and this one was a flat. And then we have the detached house, which is a house that's not attached to any of the houses. It's all by itself. And that's our detached house. And then we have the semi-detached house, which is two houses together with no other houses either side. And that's our semi-detached. And then we had a bungalow. And a bungalow is just on one floor. It doesn't have an upstairs. It doesn't have any stairs. And that's our bungalow. Did you get those right? Well done if you did. If not, keep thinking about the different style and types of houses and just keep talking about them to the people in the room with you. Okay, so homes in the past. Today we're going to be exploring some homes that were built a really long time ago. Okay, so they're not built recently, they were built a really long time ago. So we're going to be finding out about what houses were like in the past and how they've changed over time. And we're going to be thinking about how the houses are very different from today, and also how that people used to create and design houses to make them fashionable for the time. All right then. So we've got medieval, Tudor, Georgian, and Victorian. The medieval lived hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago in the year 1215. And in the Tudor period, this man, he lived in 1524, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Then we've got the Georgian man, and he lived in 1785. Again, it was a really long time ago. And then the Victorian man, and he lived in 1887. Again, a really long time ago. So here is Rolf, and he lived a very, very long time ago in the year 1215. Most people lived in houses made of stone walls and straw roofs, but most of their houses no longer exist. So these houses had straw roofs. Can you see that? The roofs are not made of clay tiles like how they are now. They were just made of straw. And if you have a look on the inside as well, that's all it is, a wooden beam and some straw. The walls were made of stone and they were packed together tightly, but they were not like bricks are, where they fit together perfectly. There were holes in them so the cold air could still get in there. And if you notice, there is only one room. So here is just the sleeping area of the house. And then here is the living area of the house. And can you notice there's actually a fire in the room? Do you see that there? Now, the fire would have kept the whole house nice and warm, and it would have warmed up that whole house. But the fire was just open, so it would have been very smoky in there. Okay. Now, these are some of the houses that were built in the period, but as you can see, people do not live in them anymore. They are derelict. That means they are empty and no one lives in there. Now, what do you notice about these two houses? It's missing something. What is it missing? That's right, it's missing the roof. What material was the roof made out of? Yes, it was made out of straw. Now, the straw would have rotted away now. It wouldn't have survived. And therefore, that's why we've only got the buildings left. But definitely these buildings were not habitable. That means you couldn't live in them now. They are too small, and the doorway here is very tiny, and they have no roofs. It'd be very tricky to try and live in them now. I do like those houses though. I like how tiny they are. Now, in the same time period, very rich people lived in castles that were made of stone. Now, these were handcrafted to make sure that they were kept grand and beautiful and warm. As well as lords and ladies in the castle, there were also lots of servants who lived there to help run it. Now, compared to the normal house in this time period, in the medieval time, in a castle, there were lots and lots of rooms and stairs. But do you notice, does it have any windows? Not really. They have small little slits here, can you see? But they don't have any big windows, and they definitely don't have any glass in them. Okay. Now, some of these castles still exist today. It's because they were built so well. They were really sturdy. They were built to be strong and sturdy. And what can you see on this castle? I can see turrets. That means it goes up and down. And this water around. The water around the castle was called a moat. And that was there to protect the castle, to stop invaders trying to get into the castle and steal all the things out of there, because they would have to swim across the moat to get to the castle. Now, there's some other castles as well here. This is Warwick Castle, and this isn't far from where we live. You can go and visit Warwick Castle. And this here is Kenilworth Castle, and you can go there as well to visit. They're very grand, aren't they? And they're hundreds and hundreds of years old, and yet they're still standing. They're very, very sturdy. Okay. Now, here is Robert, and he lived in Tudor times, and it was called the Tudor period because the Tudor family were the kings and queens at that period of time. You can easily spot a Tudor house because they're made with black beams. Now, when you go into year 2, you are going to learn all about a very famous event that happened during Tudor times called the Great Fire of London. And lots of the houses burnt in the Great Fire of London. And I wonder if you can find out why. Let's have a look. So in between the black wooden beams, it's mud and straw, and it's painted white. So I'm going to show you now. Oops. Okay. Can you see the black wooden beams? They're there, and they're just wood. And in between that, it's just mud and straw that's mixed together and pushed in between them. So really, essentially, it was a house that was just made of wood. Now, they did have wooden roof beams, and now we have clay tiles. So we're more advanced from just the straw thatched roofs. However, in Tudor times, they did also have thatched roofs. It wasn't lots of houses that had clay tiles. Mostly they had thatched roofs. Now, this is a very grand house. In the year 1524, bricks and glass were very, very expensive. If your house was built of brick and it had glass windows, people knew you were very rich. And if we look back at this house here, they just have open areas that were the window. There's nothing in there to protect them, no glass. So the Tudor who built this house was just showing off with all the money that they had. Now, lots of Tudor houses are still standing today, and some modern houses are made to look like old Tudor houses. Which of these do you think is an original and which do you think is a copy? I wonder if you can tell. There's a big clue. Okay, and it's something you might have in your house. You see here on this house, it's a garage. You wouldn't have a garage in Tudor times. They didn't need to put a car in the garage. So that's how we know that this one here is just styled on the look of a Tudor house. Whereas this house here, you can see how all the walls are warped and starting to move in. Can you see that? That is an original Tudor house. And I've got some more to show you here. Which ones do you think are original and which ones do you think possibly could be modern? Pause the video. Have a chat with a person in the room. Welcome back. What did you decide? Let's have a look. This one is definitely an original Tudor house. Can you see it's not very straight? The walls are a little bit wobbly. Okay, they've definitely had some work done on the roof though. I can see that. Very small windows. The same with this one again. Can you see how it goes wobbly in there? And it doesn't quite look exactly right. This one is also an original Tudor house. Whereas this one here, well, that reminds me of that other house with a garage. Can you see here? It has a stone porch. And Tudor houses didn't have stone porches. So this is a modern house. Here as well, this one is an original Tudor house. Can you see how very small the squares are here? It's because they built it with the beams so they could pack in that mud and that straw. And this one here as well, this is also an original house too. Okay. So here is Mr. Fitzwilliams. It's the year 1875, and it was very fashionable to build houses in the style of ancient Greeks. They loved symmetry, square shapes, straight lines, and pillars. Now, often you see lots of stately homes that look like this, and they have lots of windows, and it always does look symmetrical. So it's the same on one side to the other side. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause the video, stop the video here, and we're going to go to the next video to have a look at the next set of houses. So I'll see you in part 2. Bye now.